Well, hello everybody. We are over the magic number of 25 people. Participants are coming in, but I think we should slowly start. I'm very happy that I'm together with Jesus Barrientos chairing or moderating this session. And I'm welcoming Tatiana López, first time at ATypI, I believe. And she will be talking on about vernacular type of El Salvador. Tatiana is a graphic designer and lettering designer, a calligraphy and type design enthusiast, and a member of Cabinet. She will talk about this later on. She just graduated, or she will graduate today in the afternoon. And she had very hard year after this year because in El Salvador sometimes they have school also on Saturdays and Sundays, which I was very alarmed about. Anyway, she keeps saying that she sleeps only 4 hours per night, which I think it's totally not correct, and we'll have to do something about that. But she tries to cram a lot in her life, I believe. She received the 2020 Beatrice Ward Scholarship presented by the TDC and Monotype last year. She has very curious mind to experiment with different materials to create letters beyond paper and screen. She is a ferocious reader, not scared to be exposed to new things. She was supported also in latest years by another wonderful initiative, Alphabetes. If you don't know what is this, you should check it out. She developed interest in broader view on design and its potential to change the world for better. Vernacular Type Talk will take us on a trip around visual landscape of a tiny country in Central America, El Salvador. And as Tatiana says, it's about how letters shape our culture in a visual way and how we express ourselves through it. So without further ado, I will ask our wonderful tech team behind the scene to start the presentation. And you are very welcome to listen to her.
Hi, my name is Tatiana López. I'm from El Salvador, and I'm going to be sharing with you about vernacular type from my country. I want to thank the ATypI for inviting me to talk about my country and our visual culture. And of course, I want to thank my dear mentor Petra Cherny-Oven for making this happen. I want to take you on a little tour to show you around vernacular type from El Salvador, and at the end of the presentation, I want to share with you some Salvadoran designers that I admire to show you how our visual culture enriches our work. I hope you enjoy the ride. The pictures you will see in the presentation have the credit for the person who was kind enough to share them with me for this presentation. The pictures that don't have the credits are my own. Welcome to Vernacular Type from El Salvador. Hola. Before I start talking about my country, I want to share a little bit about myself. I'm from Cojutepeque, small city in El Salvador. I'm a self-taught lettering designer with a big interest in type design. This is my mentor, Petra Cherny-Oven. I met her through Alphabets, and I'm forever grateful for this program because she have changed my life completely over the years. I like to experiment and draw different kind of lettering style, from highly ornamented to very clean script letter forms. I was very lucky to have won the Beatrice Ward Scholarship from TDC last year. My passion projects are very important because they have opened doors for me that I couldn't have imagined. Since I had to drop out university for a year and a half a few years ago, but now I'm back and I'm almost for graduation. Because of economic problems, I have to drop out university, but I have to find a way to keep searching about letter forms and the work behind them. Mentorship programs are important to our education, mostly for students like me that come from vulnerable third world countries. But first, before I jump in to show you a little bit of El Salvador, I want to set up the scene where my country is located. This is America. We have North America, South America, and this is Central America, the smallest one. And Here it is, my country. Just to give you the context, which countries are around my country, like Guatemala and Honduras. El Salvador is a tiny country located in Central America. It might be really small, but full of color, with interesting vernacular letter forms and a lot of tropical fruits and many delicious fruits, as you can see in the pictures. I had to fly to the other side of the world to realize the big contrast of my daily visual culture from my country. As you can see, we have a lot of food and fruits and like posas, which is the most delicious dish, is the national dish, and I hope you can try them someday. I want to give you a little bit of context about my country in general. We are an unitary state. We have 14 departments and 262 municipalities. Our capital is San Salvador. Our language is Spanish. Our indigenous language is Nahuatl without the L at the end because it can be confused with Nahuatl. Our area is 21,041 kilometers. Yes, we are really small, almost the same as Slovenia, where my mentor lives, but in population we are around a lot more. Our population is around 6,830,000. This is not exact data because our government hasn't updated the data in a while, so I'm sorry, but I'm pretty sure we are more than that now. Our currency is dollar, but our original currency was colon. Our minimum wage is $304, around that. This data is important to understand the context economically in my country and, of course, how this is a key element on this presentation. We have a lot of informal commerce, and this happens because it exists a necessity that comes from not having a decent salary or not having one at all because of lack of employment. This affects many families and people has to find a way to survive and put informal and small entrepreneurships. Currently, we are in a really vulnerable situation in my country, with past and present governments corrupted to the core, and things are getting worse every day. We have gangs problems, many people are disappearing, and we believe the core of the reason why is worse than we can imagine, and the government is not doing anything about it. Because homicides and disappearance are not a priority for our government, never has, and it never will. So we only have each other in our own small communities regarding our profession or where we live. Vernacular type. Everyone was asking me what vernacular meant, and I found this definition: the form of language that a particular group of speakers use naturally in informal situation. So, it's the language of a particular place in a culture. I found a definition for vernacular type specifically that someone found in the book of Stephen Heller and Christine Thompson, Letterforms, Bawdy, Bad, and Beautiful. They describe vernacular type as is defined as the letter form selected, created, or applied by a person whose occupation is not derived from regular work with letter forms. El Salvador has one-of-a-kind vernacular typography besides the letter forms. Another visual key element is colors. You can see big contrast of grading in bold letters, not only in signs but on buses, painted push cards, selling ice cream or minutas, which is shaved ice, or letters on boats. Bold and colorful letter forms are displayed everywhere you turn around. It's important to understand why things work this way visually, because most of the people who do design or paint buses are everywhere and they are practically invisible. We just see the signs, but we don't know who paid them. Sometimes there are carpenters or people who paint buses or someone's uncle who probably is a jack of all trades, and the neighbor asks them to paint a sign because the neighbor will sell tortillas or chocobananos and people place the signs outside their houses. And as I mentioned before, this happens because of the lack of employment. So there's a lot of informal commerce. So that's why is the need to have signs to promote your business, your small business. This is the grave of my great-grandmother, Maria Catalina, and my grandma tells us this funny story about who painted the graveyard. And it was a drunk man. And originally it was reading Kalina instead of Catalina. But years later, another man, who is the kind of person a jack of all trades, repaint the graveyard because it's a tradition to clean and paint the graveyards every year. And the man tried to fix the problem of the name. And it's interesting how he tried to mimic the round forms from the name Maria in Catalina. Also, it is funny because López and Perez are reading incorrectly, but now it's part of our family history, and the graveyard of my great grandma is one of my favorites. I want to present vernacular type in three different contexts. I want to show you the first three top I chose because I could add a few more, but these are the more popular ones. Informal economy. Like I mentioned in the beginning, our economy is not good. We don't have a decent minimum wage. The health system is really bad. So many families or single moms have to find a way to survive the lack of employment. We have the tienditas, which are little stores in the houses in every neighborhood, where you can find the basic things like sugar, salt, toilet paper, matches, popular snacks, etc. Tienditas are very popular in Latin American culture. Or you can find tortillerias, pupuserias, people who repair shoes, car wash, tailors, carpenters, and the list goes on. The second one is in public transport and vehicles. The third one is in public spaces. Let's jump into informal economy, a small business. As you can see in the slide and the picture, you will see a lot of spelling mistakes. Like this one, this is a pupuseria, a gelateria, where they sell ice. And you can see many different letter forms like stencils or very modular ones with really contrast in colors. Or you can see a small business like in the picture in the right, but also you can see the contrast in the left that is just a really very handwritten sign that they say that they sell fish. So the signs that you will find on the street are very rich in forms and how people is creative to put a sign outside to promote something, like the parking, like in the picture in the right. Or there are small pickups selling fruits, or someone selling coconut water, or food, small businesses. You can see the illustrations that comes with letter forms as well. This is one of my favorites because it's more constructed and it's more like sign painting. It's very old. And of course are the ones are other that are displayed in different surface, not only on the wall. You can find the tienditas in the picture on the right, and the picture on the left. It's a place where they sell tortillas, and you will see some signs that has quotes related to God, like the yellow one says, "God bless this business," or "Watch out, God sees everything," and the pink one, I don't know what it says, but say Christ and sky. And the left is Tienda Rosita, which normally you find a tiendita, and the name of the tiendita, it's the name of the owner, mostly. And you will see signs related to food. And the picture on the left is a lawyer. Also, it's really interesting to see beyond the name, beyond the letter forms, the humor that goes with it. Because in the picture on the right, it's a furniture store, but also the slogan is like, I can translate it into "shut up and take my money." And you can see another tiendita, other places where they do something to the cars, whatever. Also, in some places that we have more tourism, you will see some signs painted in English, of course. Mostly this happens on the beach because we have a lot of tourism on the beach. Also, there are places where you can buy alcohol and have these really extensive letters outside, and another tiendita. A barber shop, some place where they store things on the fridge. Also, someone who will sell cheese, and they put a little small sign outside the house, or a car wash. And you will see the contrast of colors, of course, and different kind of mediums paint. This is a funeral home, the picture on the left, and the name is Charming. It's a funeral home called Charming. If we have another tiendita, and this is the pushcards edition. It's really interesting to see the same mix of colors, yellow on blue, plus the illustration, of course, white and blue and red. These are kind of snow cones, like the minutas. Of course, ice cream and minutas. These are very popular. And I love the letter forms, the colors and everything. Also, this is like really a must when you come to El Salvador to try the El Chori. Are practically hot dogs, but this is specifically a little small business. It's very popular in here, very delicious, and you can make a big lines waiting for a hot dog. We call it El Chori, and you can see the colors that are very popping. And of course, on the right, you will see someone again selling coconut water and just water. This is very common. I mean, you can go on a trip or whatever to the capital, and you can find many little small business selling coconut water. Barber shop, a place where they play lottery. And this is the debut of Roger, my friend's dog. The picture on the left. This is a place where they sell snacks, but it was closed. But the colors, you can see again the kind of sky blue, and the letters and the stickers and the illustrations are very bright. And we have a molino. It is another kind of like they use metal to put the letters as well. And of course, because it's informal commerce, you will find clowns that they offer their service, and they pay to someone to paint the picture on the wall to promote themselves plus their number. Sometimes it's just the number and the information of the clown. The picture on the right is a little store of souvenirs, and it's really old, and you can see the kind of stencil like letter forms outside. And this is very popular. I mean, this is very common, and that happens that there's a lot of plumbers working and spreading their information contact around the city where they live. And last year, because of the pandemic, this account that is called Lo Que Es, which is owned by Pedro, he started this initiative where he started to share the information of the plumbers, so in case you need one. And it's really important for them to communicate their contact information. So I think it's very interesting to see how they paint their bike or things like that to promote themselves outside. Now we have vernacular type in public transport and vehicles. People love to put quotes on their cars, like this one, for example, that says, "I don't err, but I have fun." People like to put their statements in their cars. Like this one, for example, of course, you will see a lot of spelling mistakes, like love and hope with the J instead of an H. It's like, for people, it's like to put their statement in their cars. It is really funny and very interesting. to see all kinds of quotes, because you will see some religious quote as well. You will see designs on the buses. You see the colors, the name. Sometimes they name they put the owner of the bus, since it's not owned by the government. The owner of the bus put the name, maybe their daughter, or I don't know, someone's family who owns the bus. Of course, they're very colorful. Sometimes it has some effects of fire and things like that. Also, the humor is very important. The one on the left says, "I don't earn, but I have fun," like in the beginning. And of course, simple information. And also, there are some trucks that say keep your distance, like on the right. And of course, you will see really, letters with effects. And I could give you a whole presentation only on letters on buses, because it's very interesting to see the names of the people, and the names of the bus, the numbers from the buses, and the colors and the contrast. And the letter forms are very different. Sometimes are sign painting like. And this is in the other one, and both of them, but in the left and the right, the little trains called Happy Turtle. This is precious content that one of my friends got on Action. The lights turns on when the car is moving. It say, "Because of mercy of God." It says the letter. And yeah, this very, it happens. I mean, not with bright letters, of course, with that will have light, but it's very popular to see quotes like that. And of course, this is just a plus. The from letter for on quotes, like this one say, "Darling, Lupita, the Cruz," or Stephanie. You will see bright colors as well. And the third context is in public spaces. Sometimes in the neighborhoods, people want to put a sign about something random, like this sign, for example, that says, "We already have a water meter." Or you will find the sign that says, "Please don't throw away the trash here," or public bathrooms, for example. Some people want to earn a little bit more money, and they open the opportunity to go to the bathroom and charge for it. And yeah, people selling goats or candies. This people, the picture on the right, you will see some of them, the graphic arts of some candies, some brands that are very old, so it's very classic, of course. And again, signs that say, "Please don't throw away the trash in here," or "Don't park in here." And of course, you will find many spelling mistakes, and kind of adds raw beauty in it sometimes, or really bad kerning. And of course, they use really bright colors, like this one, for example. The one in the right really caught my attention. It says, "Don't get too close without a mask." Do you understand? And it's very popular to see these big, big signs when it's going to be a ball or something. Before pandemic, of course, it was very popular. And of course, sometimes they add a little drawing, because it says, "Don't park in here, don't be a donkey," or something like that. And of course, in small business, they put you a sign what is the minimum that you can go there and buy something. That is the minimum that you can spend. And this has a spelling mistake. The one on the left, you can see that say Yo de Lido no me olvido. It's a slogan from a brand that's Lido. They sell bread and it's very, very traditional. And yeah, they didn't spend in the supermarket money on branding. They just put someone to write Yo de Lido no me olvido. Someone renting rooms, someone saying that you can throw away trash in there. There's private, but it has another spelling mistake. This one is my favorite, the one in the left, because you can see the letter forms written really freely, but also kind of has a structure. And of course, you will find signs that say "Don't pee in here, please," with spelling mistake. And there's a really, really popular quote that say "Buena, bonita, barata," which means good, pretty, and cheap. The three B's. This is kind of like a Kinder surprise that are very small bags full of toys. But the logo that says Sorpresa la Salvadoreña, it's, I don't know, I think, I don't know which time they create this, but everyone knows about this and gives you, if you see this outside my country, you will have like a homesick feeling if you're Salvadorian. So I want to give you a little bonus because Suchitoto, I really want to show you Suchitoto in a quick way because there is a lot of information I know. But as you may notice, we don't have an aesthetic system in each city to place the signs because it's not our priority, of course. But Suchitoto is one of the few cities in my country that have tried to unify the signs of the small business in the area. As you can see, the signs are painted all wood. The key element is wood. Even if there are drugstores that have their own personal branding, they have to put their sign outside, fitting in the communication system from the city. I want to take a little tour and took a lot of pictures of the signs because they're very beautiful, painted in wood. And of course, they add a little illustration with it regarding to the topic of the business. Another tiendita, medical center. The one on the left say naughty chicken. More ice cream and little stores. This is part of my city. This is a really small amount of pictures. Cojutepeque, my city. We have carrozas, which are floats. We have our festivities every January. We celebrate the festivities of the same patrons from my city, that is Inmaculada Concepción de María y San Sebastián Mártir. We have a parade that we have different queens from each part in the city, and the leading queen is the sugar cane queen. That's why I put the sugar cane picture. The floats are designed and made very handcrafted with local and typical ornaments related to our city. But the beauty that I want to highlight is the name of each queen on the top of the float. The designs are very diverse, the colors and the letter forms. Because of COVID, we have 2 years already that we don't celebrate the festivities. So I have found even more value to this kind of events in my city. I didn't know how much I miss it. As you can see the names on the top of the float. Full of colors, different letter forms, and kind of try to add contrast to the float. Now, I want to go into almost the end of my presentation with typography, type design, lettering from El Salvador. At the beginning, when I started my design career, I didn't pay attention intentionally to show how my daily visual culture influenced my work or my colleagues. But after traveling to other countries, I can understand how important our design is in our daily life, especially because we do things automatically and we don't stop for a second to think which are the things that shape our way of thinking and the way we do things. I want to share with you some designers that I admire and who add a lot of value to the design community in my country on a national and international level. Raquel Maron is a graphic designer who specializes in branding. The way she sees life and shares it with the world through design and her project is amazing. Dog Walk is a really awesome project for one of her most important clients, his son. It's his son. It's his son dog's walking business. He came with the idea and he hired her to make the branding for his social media and some stationery, of course. Raquel puts a lot of love into all her projects, like Kitchen O'Clock, where she shares her recipes, or 120, where she designs for small businesses with high quality but for people who don't have enough budget and who are starting out. And Luxiola is a photo spa studio she co-owns and opened recently. Raquel is truly one of a kind. Emma is a survey designer, and she is one of the reasons why I pursue my love for lettering in the world of typography. Survey design wasn't known in my country, and she have worked through many years visiting other countries, saving money to visit art show and design licensing fairs in the US and international. Emma have opened the path for many designers in my country in different ways. She is very talented and a truly hardworking person, and you can see the details and the love for what she does in her work. Her lettering work is one of my favorites, and it's always inspired me to keep going. She puts a lot of detail into her work and into her survey design. I really hope you can Google her because she's amazing. Malik Weyer is a graphic designer and illustrator. She paints murals, and her work is amazing. As you can see, the bright colors, the forms, everything has a beautiful balance and is really energetic and inspiring. She's a teacher and she encourages her students so much, and you can see her social media how much their students love her. There are three talented designers that I want to show you, which have made the design community more friendly, to share experience, doubts, work related. They are very young. Each of them has their own style and their own voice to spread positive vibes through lettering. Sophie Flores is a graphic and lettering designer. She combines illustration and lettering and does amazing illustration with a magical touch. She has a big love for script lettering. She likes to share the process of her projects as a way to show the hard work that it takes just a single piece of lettering or illustration to make. Fabi Chan is a strategic designer. She has teach lettering workshops locally, and her style is very friendly, encouraging with positive vibes. Also, she likes to experiment with lettering in all kinds of objects. She's one of the most friendly people I know. Miss Bambi, her name is Nancy, is a graphic and lettering designer, and her work is full of color. She encourages people through her lettering work to keep going even in dark times. Her work is full of energy, as she is, and everyone who knows her gets amazed by her positive energy. Daniel Fernandez. He is a graphic designer. He likes to experiment with all kinds of mediums and objects. He does animation, illustration, and tie design experiments. This project was made with broken glass, which we call it in our country, wishte. Revista Flores is one of Daniel's projects. Daniel is the art director, and it's one of his collaborative projects where you can find deep poetry and all kinds of topics which can be displayed in the most artistic and experimental way. Their colors are very bright and energetic. And I want to show you last but not least, I want to introduce to the world this project that has a special place in my heart because we have worked so hard to make it happen. Meet Cabinet. Cabinet is an independent type design collective from El Salvador. Ivan and Jorge had this idea of having a virtual space to hang out to talk about type last year, but they have so many ideas in mind for their project in the future to be more than a space to hang out, and they invited me over to be part of it. And after a tight grid crew session with Fernanda Cosi, we have a name and a social media page. Big thanks to Fernanda for making it happen and believing in us. And we want to give special thanks to Juan Villanueva to creating tight grid crew, and of course, Fernanda Cosi. This is our work in progress typeface. We call it forever work in progress because we're always tweaking and learning things as we go. What we do right now mostly is to collaborate in the projects we are doing, type design related. We share our struggles with the programs, with life, or whatever. Now that you know more about my country, you will understand the lack of opportunities and the lack of resources for studying type design we encounter in El Salvador. And of course, if it wasn't for the internet, we wouldn't be here. We value so much people's feedback, their time is gold for us, because it is hard to know if we're doing this right or wrong, since we are discovering type design education from one tutorial to another. And of course, we have to do it after office hours, and we save money, as much money we can, to invest in books, courses, whatever. So we want to thank you for creating these spaces for education and to continue discovering new ways of learning in type design community. I want to present three typefaces in progress, which the visualization has been a collaborative work between Ivan and Jorge. And I can ask for a better team, to be honest. They're very talented, and that's why I want to show you their work. San Antonio is a typeface inspired by Art Deco architecture and from the Hollywood aesthetic from the 40s, mostly focused on film noir. Is an uppercase style with medium contrast, vertical axis with geometrical construction. Is used for display mediums and digital mediums. And now Jorge is currently working to make it for print mediums as well. Next one we have Neogotica. It's a typeface inspired by the eclectic architecture from some buildings in Santa Tecla, a city from El Salvador. It's for display use. It's modular with a bold weight, and it reflects the ornamental details from the buildings in her modular form. The next one is a revival type. A revival from a lettering guide designed by a calligrapher back in 1914, C.W. Jones, in Sylvan Text section play 21. Contain an alphabet leaning to the left with simplistic and geometric strokes. Now, 107 years later, this intends to be a display typeface with a contemporary view on black letter type and the concept of how timeless letters can be. Ivan asked me to add that these resources that he took inspiration from was shared during a cabinet meeting, and I shared with them the PDF. This is an ongoing project with the critique by Juan Villanueva through Typegrid Crew and us, Cabinete. The next one is Brugmancia. It's a work in progress display font reflecting Roman characteristics with narrow body. It presents a large exhale, high contrast, and angle stress, scalloped terminals, and some of the characters have sloped tops. Brugmancia is inspired by a plant native from tropical regions as Mexico, Central and South America. They have wood shrubs with pendulous flowers and have no spines on their fruit. Their large, fragrant flowers give them their common name of angel's trumpet. Feedback sessions in collab Cabinete with Fernandez. This is a poster we did from our 36th Day of Type project we did this year in a collaborative way, and someone commissioned us a poster from the whole alphabet. Of course, it was really a big shock for us. Thank you for believing in us. The end. Thank you so much for inviting me, and thank you to Raquel Maron, Pedro Rivas. You can find the account on Instagram. It's called Lo Que Es, and you will see a lot of signs from El Salvador, and Guillermo Jimenez, and for sharing their pictures for my presentation. And of course, a big thanks to Jorge and Ivan, to my cabinet family for their big support, and to the whole Thai community. Thank you so much for creating these spaces.
Muchas gracias, Tatiana. Thank you very much. This is this is such an inspirational talk that you just presented. Uh, I think that is really important. As we were talking uh, some minutes ago, that the ATypI offers to every culture and every people surrounding type the opportunity to share your surroundings is like a really magical thing because we're traveling literally without moving. And as Cesar Puertas was saying in the chat room, I think that most of what you presented really represents us to Latin Americans. I mean, we share a lot, but also it's something uh, like a conceptual thing that we are surrounded by letters, by letter forms, and I think it's really important the work that you are doing, that you're looking at those letter forms that maybe are not as uh, known as canon as we learn when we look at the great typefaces or the books of design, of type design, but bringing that to the digital world, I think it's a really important work to do. And well, that's a little comment that I wanted to make. And of course, if anyone have any questions, you can write it down in the room chat. También pueden escribirla en español. Veo que hay muchos participantes con sus nombres en español. Ya sé que eso a veces no es precisamente como no significa que sean hispanohablantes, pero bueno, también creo que es importante que abramos estos espacios justamente para nuestras lenguas nativas, ¿no? Digo, eh, me parece encantador que todas tus diapositivas evidentemente pues están en español, ¿no? Entonces, muchas felicidades, Tatiana, y muchas gracias.
Thank you so much. I think it's important for me to share. In January, I did an Erasmus exchange, and I got the opportunity. Actually, I went to Slovenia and I met Petra. So for me, it was really important how people ask me about my country. And the first thing they go when they Google, where do you live? I'm from El Salvador. The first thing they found is that is one of the most dangerous country, and I'm like, oh my god, I have to explain. So I think it's important to put El Salvador in other spaces rather than this is the most dangerous, one of the most dangerous country in the world, and also how the context is important to our visual culture. Also, how this affects our process of learning um, in any career. In arts and design, it's really hard for us because it's not very accessible to find books uh, and of course are in English. So of course you have to learn English to be able to understand. One of the things I was telling to other students one of this day is that of course well, now we have more information on the internet. Yes, we have a lot of accounts on Instagram sharing things, but there is a lot of information, so you don't know which is good or which way to take. And I think that's why I'm grateful for Petra, because she was a guide. She is a guide for me. She's still my mentor. She's a guide for me. She doesn't want to talk. She doesn't want me to mention her, but yeah, it's important to have people to help you to go through navigate to all of big ocean of information, and understanding our context where we come from. And it's important to people to be more, I think we are politically really really bad, so we only have each other, not only in our country but around the world as well, because I every country is really corrupted to the core, politically speaking. So we only have each other, and we more understand the context of people from other countries. We can be more empathic and be more understanding and be there for other people.
Yeah. I agree. Totally agree. And would you like to add something, Petra?
It's like,
I think it's usually, I mean, it's easy to be a knowledge for being a teacher to somebody when the pupil is very bright and has thirst for knowledge and is excellent anyway. You know, I was not doing anything. Tatiana would find these things also without me, no problem. It's really about thirst for knowledge, which some pupils or some students have and some don't. So I think it should be, of course, encouraged to have all these networks which are possible in international community and support bright students from anywhere. You know, that's why I think Alphabetes is such a great community, and they've done really amazing job to bring so many students in connections with other professionals who can actually help them at certain point in the career, especially in young. You know, when you start career, it's really important to have good guidance, and that's all. I mean, there's so many people like me, you know, doing that kind of things, and the network is getting stronger and stronger, and I think that's great. Also, ATypI opening up to all continents. Really, I think that's a really good move, and it's just amazing to see all these flowers who can actually flower anywhere. You know, having resources and everything. It's really important. I think people should warm up and ask some questions.
Yeah, everybody's kind of
They're very shy.
but
yeah.
I was reading the comments when the presentation was on, and they were really excited about the colors and things. So thank you so much for appreciating our culture. There's other Raquel who shared the pictures with me. Some of the picture is here. She's one of the most enthusiastic person you can meet. Um, so for how long have you been Raquel say how for how long have I been collecting photos? Since I'm in my university, my university is placed in a really in the central in a very vulnerable uh, place in the city, my university. So it's a little bit dangerous. So I always, but it's full of signs because there's a lot of informal commerce. That's why it's a little bit, it's not so safe to be there, with your cell phone or your camera. But when I was when I entered the university, I was seeing the signs and everything. I was in 2017, my mentor Petra put me an assignment to collect pictures of signs in El Salvador. Actually, I have the screenshot of that in our Dropbox file, Petra. So she gave me that assignment a few years ago. So I have I have a lot of pictures of graveyards as well. I mean, but for this presentation, I only put the only put 3 contexts, but I have more pictures with signs and the graves and the graveyard and the graveyards and many graves with full of colors, and also carrozas, which is in my city. You can see the names of the queen painted on that because you can see other carnivals and festivals doesn't have the name of the queen. I think I haven't seen them, but in my city you can see the name of the queen and everything. So yeah, I took pictures of the floats, but then I started taking more seriously what Petra told me. But also one of the tricky part of taking pictures of signs, it sometimes are not funny enough, and some of them are precious content, like the video of the little car with the lights on. That was one of a kind, and the problem is that some of them are blurry because you are on the car or you are walking and you have to take the picture really fast. So yeah, it has those kind of things, but yeah, it was because of Petra.
Maybe it would be interesting to tell the world, are there any, I mean, how is society organized? Do you have any design organizations in El Salvador? We know something about education, or you can tell us more maybe?
Yes, mostly in graphic design. Well, not so much, I must say. I mean, there is a space. They're organized contempo, but they're more prioritize more the product designers mostly. I mean, there's this biennial, which I participate, but it was I was very lucky that there was open an opportunity for surface design category, but it doesn't happen every time they made the biennial. Is mostly for product design. Of course, you can apply surface, but there's a lot of more money you have to invest. So biennials that kind of like graphic design base or things like that, not so much, to be honest. I mean, there have to be, but it's not like we are working for it. I think it's one of the things that we want to do with Cabinet, or Kotai Collective, to be more open, not only to share our own resources. Now we are trying to understand what we want, what we have to, what we want to do. Oh, Raquel said that years ago they tried to organize some designers with the help of USAID, but didn't work. That's the other thing, that sometimes you have to, there, it's a way of luck. I don't know why, but sometimes they start coming out things and things don't work out, or I don't know. It's really tricky, but I think it's part of the human being, not the Salvadorian, but the thing in general. I mean, sometimes things work out and sometimes doesn't, and I think that's one of the most, we are working through with Cabinet with that also, and other people with who do lettering, the other girls I put in the presentation. We try to have a small communities, and we are trying to see what we can do for others, because I think that past designers, like in the generation from Raquel Maron, I think are more like, more individual, kind of like Raquel is one of a kind. She shares a lot of things. She works collaborative, and that's why I have learned a lot from her as well. I went to one of her talk a few years ago, and I took a picture of her. Now we are here with Raquel. But yeah, it's really rare to find people like Raquel to be open to do things, for example, and always, sometimes like small groups, it's not more open. But I think product designers have more opportunity in the design associations in El Salvador, not graphic design. My dream is to make a biennial of type design here with posters and see them displayed in a museum.
You might be on the way to do that. It sounds like you're going to arrange that to happen in the future.
I hope so. I hope so. I think it's important to make people, students, to make them excited about it, and not spending a lot of money, because what happened with contemporary, you apply for product design category, you have to spend a lot of money designing not just the surface but the product in itself. It's a lot of money, and there's other ways to so we're going to do that with Cabinet. Ivan is here. We are going to do a biennial of type design, or just typography posters, type posters, for sure.
Wonderful. Yeah, I think building bridges is really important, and just being in silos is it's silly. Designers are not majority in any country. Usually they are small numbers anyway. So all designers should actually combine their strength to develop their profession further. So yes, mix, combine, connect.
Yes. No, it was say here in the ATypI. Not weird. We'll see in a few years.
you can make a chapter, El Salvadorian ATypI chapter. Yeah.
Yes.
I think we need a country delegate for El Salvador. We don't have one, do we?
We just got one actually this autumn.
Yeah.
Oh,
Fresh. I'm the new delegate.
that's a good news.
Yes. It's fresh news. I'm the new delegate.
And big responsibility on her. Now we have to twist her hands to do stuff. Yes,
now
very
I'm
nice.
part of the ATypI. Now I'm the country delegate of Salvador. So now, of course, we have to do something for El Salvador.
Yes, I think you have a lot of fans. You have a lot of friends. So it's great to see younger communities rising up, and do change in their own countries. I think that's great. Yeah. Thank you, Raquel.
Oh, thank you, Raquel.
It's true. Yeah.
Yes. So I think not anyone has more questions. So I don't know how much time we have left, but yeah, thank you.
We can also slowly move to the breakout space. We can continue informal conversations there. So I would invite everybody who was participating. Well, thank you so much for coming. And also you can move to breakout space and we can continue the discussion there. And thank you, Tatiana, and thank you, Jesus.
Muchas gracias, Jesus. I'm happy that I met you at least online.
Sí. Gracias, Tatiana, Petra. Y vámonos al...
Sí. Al otro lado. Gracias a todos por estar. Juan, Tamara, unos nombres que vi.
See you.
Bye.